Welcome back, my friends. A couple of questions to answer for you, the viewer, listener. Tell you a little bit about my style of writing and what readers can expect if they pick up one of my stories. Well, I'll split this up into I think 9 different words or phrases that might help explain, in essence, kind of the things that you could encounter in my writing style. The first one is speculative fiction. That's kind of an umbrella term that I use. It's a writing style that explores alternative realities and possibilities. It often includes elements of science fiction, also fantasy, sometimes even some suspense or horror. The second one is alternative history. To explain that one, the reader may encounter stories that are imagining what the world would be like if key historical events had happened differently. I do this primarily in Appalachia. The third word would be a kind of dystopian, or just dystopia, a dystopian reality anyway. Many of the stories may depict a hint of kind of a bleak or oppressive future society. However, I do try to shine a light on the bright side of things, because I want to give the reader a happy ending, and the world at large may be bleak, but there are pockets of light that are shining hope, I guess. So, the next word, the fourth thing, would be imaginative. I try my best to work with writing that I hope is full of creative ideas and imaginative world building, things that you might not see here and there. But there's so much fantasy and speculative fiction out there that I'm sure there's a lot of overlap here and there. The fifth thing is I try to be thought-provoking. I hope my stories will make readers think deeply about the world around them. Number 6, unpredictable. The stories often take unexpected twists and turns. Hopefully this will help keep the reader engaged, but I try not to do it just for the sake of doing it, if that makes any sense. I'm not trying to subvert expectations just for the sake of doing that. I'm just trying to offer creative twists and turns. And then the 7th one is engrossing. I hope that the readers will become deeply absorbed in the stories and not want to put them down. Yeah. Whether that's successful or not depends on the reader and how we connect with each other. The 8th word would be epic. Some tales may explore large-scale conflicts and confrontations between powerful forces, although sometimes I try to do this symbolically through individual characters who represent those larger forces. And the 9th one is just the genre itself. The genre I focus on is magical realism. So let me conclude by explaining a little bit about what is this magical realism. There are some different ways that I could use to explain the concept of magical realism to you, the way that I see it. First, I think that magical realism is a genre that blends elements of everyday world with a little hint of magical or otherworldly elements. It presents a world that is both familiar and strange. It often challenges the viewer or the reader's expectations of what can be possible. A lot of people use Harry Potter to kind of as an example of magical realism, but definitely Harry Potter wasn't the first. Next would be, the second thing would be kind of an aspect of surrealism. Magical realism, it shares some similarities with surrealism, and that was a movement in art and literature, and it has kind of a dreamlike, illogical quality to it. The imagery is kind of dreamlike sometimes. The third thing would be just mysterious. The tales may be full of mysterious and unexplained occurrences, and that's to add some sense of magic and wonder for the reader. Fourth thing would be symbolism. Magical realism, it often uses a lot of rich symbolic imagery. This uses magical elements to represent deeper truths or themes that I'm trying to share with the reader. The fifth thing would be something lyrical. Often, I don't know how often, but sometimes you could find my writing to have kind of a poetic or lyrical quality to it. It emphasizes the beauty and mystery of the world around us. The sixth thing would be kind of an introspective aspect. Magical realism often explores the inner worlds and emotions of characters. It delves into their subconscious thoughts and their desires. The seventh thing, I guess this is the final thing here, would be kind of a playful aspect. And I am guilty of having a sense of playfulness and whimsy in my writing. I want to engage readers' imagination and give them a sense of wonder and keep it somewhat lighthearted. I hope these ideas help explain both my writing style and the concept of magical realism to potential readers. And please don't get the wrong idea. Even though I try to keep things lighthearted, it doesn't mean that I don't tackle serious issues. Anyway, I think that'll be enough to whet your appetites a little further. And thank you so much for listening to me this long. And stay safe and healthy.